Hey guys, today is Wednesday, so I want to try and do a little bit of alliteration, a break from the usual thing. Wednesdays, I'm going to start doing this thing called Watcha Doin Wednesdays. For this specific video, I'll be releasing them like maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every 1 week, depending on how busy I am. And the idea is just to share some stuff that I'm playing, that I'm reading, that I'm just otherwise enjoying in this wonderful thing that we call life, right? So let's get to it. The first thing I want to talk about was video games. I've been trying to play this game, Metal Gear Revengeance, for a while. I've had this for a really long time, to the point where I opened this up and there's a little coupon here for the Konami store, and it expired in 2013. So I've had this thing for a really long time. So I haven't played 5 yet. That's on my list, and since it's October, it's actually a free game in the PlayStation Store if you're a subscriber for the online connectivity. So I didn't finish it, and it's only like 6-7 hours long. I'm so close to finishing it. It's basically what it is. It's developed by Platinum Games, so it's very similar to Bayonetta. And I like Bayonetta 2. I played that. I got the gold statue of Rodan and everything. This game's alright. It's the controls are a little weird. I don't really like the controls too much in it, but I didn't finish it. And the reason why I didn't finish it is because I started playing Stardew Valley on my Switch. It's basically Harvest Moon, and Harvest Moon is, if for you people, you young kids out there, Harvest Moon was this farming simulator where you had a farm, and then eventually you could have a family. You win the seasonal bake-off, whatever. That game came out 10 days ago, 11 days ago, and I've already logged close to 50 hours onto it. So it's definitely taken up a lot of my time, but it's a fantastic game. If you love RPGs and you love anything where you can just kind of really dig down and do some investment, this is a really great game here for all y'all. The next thing I want to talk about was a collector's item. So this one came out pretty recently. It's actually the Super Nintendo Classic, and it's really tiny. Look at that. It's like smaller than the size of my face. Super Mario World, Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Contra 3, Star Fox 1 and 2, Kirby. There's F-Zero, Super Metroid, Final Fantasy 3, which I haven't tested it yet, but I'm pretty sure it's the Final Fantasy 6. Secret of Mana, there's Earthbound, there's Mega Man X. There's a lot of games here that I really want to dig my hands into, but unfortunately because of Stardew Valley, I still haven't really gotten into that. So this was actually particularly hard to find. The original Nintendo Classic system was really hard to find last year too. So I think Nintendo has learned their lesson in terms of their production. They've been underestimating their production figures, especially with the Switch. And this here is probably going to be like the hot ticket Christmas item. They're probably going to release production stuff, and if you can, just avoid the scalpers, because they're just going to roll them out every 2 weeks until like December. So don't pay $140 or $200. Just wait every 2 weeks, check in at Target, Walmart, GameStop, whatever, and you'll get it for the regular price of $80. One thing I did want to bring up was my buddy. He mentioned that I could just play all these games on the emulator, you know, and that's true. That's absolutely true. I could just get this for a Mac or a PC and just emulate all of these games. So why the hell did I buy it? Honestly, I don't know. I think really what it was that it's the collector in me, and you know, I love to collect toys. I consider myself a fairly materialistic person when it comes to collectibles, because I love toys. That's just how it is. Now, hopefully I don't get to the point where I become, you know, Steve Carell and a 4-year-old virgin. So that's it for video games. Let's talk about books now. So there's only 2 books that I brought up here. The first book I wanted to bring up was this, I can never pronounce his name, but it's the Haruki Murakami book. I've tried reading a couple of his short stories, and I don't really like him too much. But this here I thought was fantastic. It's very much a fantasy book. It's very short. Also, look how thin that is, right, for comparison. Very thin, very thin. And it's a cool design, first of all, because it opens up like this. And then you have the text, which is ginormous. So a really short book, really beautiful imagery from Chip Kidd, and I've had the opportunity to see him at 1 or 2 Comic-Cons, I think. This is a cool book. The story is about this kid, and he goes to the library, and then he gets taken prisoner by the basement librarian, and there's all this trickery. It's incredibly short. For regular readers or for good readers, it will take you probably maybe about an hour, maybe 45 minutes. If you're a slower reader like me, it'll take you like 2 days. The next book I want to talk about is a comic book. So this one here, I've had this on my shelf for a while. It's Superman, the Men of Tomorrow. It's not Superman this time, it's kind of like a foil to it. The main character, his name is Ulysses. What happens is that his parents, they live on Earth, they're Earthlings, and they're in this laboratory. They've developed technology to go to different dimensions, and when they go into a quarantine situation and they know they're gonna die, they send their child into the 4th dimension to be raised by those people over there. So fast forward to the future, Ulysses, he goes into the other dimension, back onto Earth, and he's confused. Why is this still around? And he and Superman become pals. Or do they? I don't know. Anyway, I thought the book was actually pretty good. I don't like Superman stories too much. I think he's an incredibly hard character to write for. And there are a few Superman books that I do like. I love Kingdom Come, if you haven't read that. Kingdom Come is a fantastic book if you haven't read that. Another one that I really liked a lot is Secret Identity. That one is a non-canon book, but it's an interesting take on the character. That's something I highly recommend. The most recent book that I recommend is this book by Max Landis, and it's called American Alien. It came out, I think, 2 years ago, and it's a fantastic book. Max Landis is a very atypical writer, I would say. He's most famous for directing Chronicle. He is also part of Hollywood royalty. So that's it for books. I just want to talk about toys now, and I have a bunch of toys, and I want to try to do these toy videos later on where it's just kind of like themes or whatever. This episode, I just want to briefly just go over these things. I've been collecting DC Icon figures for a while, and what does that mean? Well, DC Icon figures, they were made for like the last 2 years, and they have a lot of criticism about them because they're smaller than, say, the Marvel Legends action figures, and there's good articulation for them except for the legs. Some of them are better than others, and I think the sculpts are actually pretty good on the majority of them. So the first one I wanted to go over was my Lex Luthor one. So I got this Lex Luthor toy right over here. This one's pretty cool. It comes with a little pizza disc. My personal favorite one that I got recently was actually Cyborg. Cyborg is really good. He has a bunch of accessories. See, like, thing comes off, and he has like different weapons that you can attach to his thing. The reason why I would say that he's my favorite is because, well, he can stand up. The Wonder Woman action figure is terrible because she can't stand up. She has feet that are too small. So these figures here, they have larger feet. They can stand up. You can pose them. That's good for my book. You gotta be able to pose it. I actually got 2 Green Lantern toys here. I got Hal Jordan, I got John Stewart. The Hal Jordan one is a really good one here, except for the fact that his limbs, they just don't stay. Like his hands, they're supposed to come off so you can put other stuff on them, but it doesn't stick very well. So, you know, it's not a great figure except just to collect it for Green Lantern. A better Green Lantern, though, is the John Stewart Green Lantern. This one is tight. If you can see over here, there's this little beam is coming out, and he has an extra hand where the beam you can connect it in, or you can have the regular hand with the Green Lantern ring. And the last one that I got was Superman. So I got a couple of these. This is the older one, and I've been trying to open a toy a day instead of opening them all at once because, you know, it's just kind of nice to open them when you're feeling kind of like you need a little pick-me-up. This one is pretty good. Like the face is pretty nice, and the legs are nice. You can replace the hands. He comes with a weird alien guy. I don't really understand the whole alien thing, but you know, it's a good figure. You can pose. You can wave hello, hi. And finally, the last thing I want to share is this really nice Flash statue that is really massive. Flash, as you know, is my favorite superhero character, next to Batman probably, and I just always really like speedsters. So this one is originally retailed at 120 bucks, and fortunately at Barnes & Noble they had a 50% off all clearance items, so I went to town on that and I bought 3 things for less than the price of this. This is not worth $120, and the thing is that it's made of PVC. If I can equate it to anything else, if you ever go to GameStop and you look at like Spider-Man, or the Doctor Strange toy, or the Gwenpool, like the statues that are made from Diamond Select, that's the quality of it. And those are like 50 bucks, like maybe sometimes $60. This is 120. It is not worth that amount simply because, well, it's PVC quality. It's just, it's nice, but it's like, don't spend over $60 for this thing because it's not worth It's not worth more than $60. And the last thing that I wanted to talk about is the new CW season. It's coming up, and I only watched Flash, Arrow, and iZombie. iZombie doesn't come until later, next year, mid-season, but Flash and Arrow are back. For those who don't remember, what happened in Arrow is that Ollie goes to the island of origin and then it explodes and everyone supposedly dies. And it picks up right about 5 months after the fact. The episode was okay. The new dynamic is that Ollie now has an adopted child with him, and he's all moody. I haven't watched the new Flash season. I did see the Flash costume with little bug yellow eyes. I'm not a fan of that. And then I saw the suit blow up, and I mean, I'm not a fan of that either, but it's just kind of funny just to like see all the suit stuff. A friend of mine at the comic book shop that I go to, he mentioned that the Flash has a severe case of comic-itis, meaning that whenever someone dies or whenever something happens, it's never really true. Everything goes back to the status quo. So that's what he told me about the newest Flash episode, that like even though in the last season of Flash goes into the Speed Force or something, so he comes back anyway. So there's no any sort of retribution, or there's no meaning, and I think that really sucks. I think that they really need to make sure to keep those shows not too comic-y. So that's it for me, guys. That's what I read, that's what I watched, that's what I'm playing, all that good stuff. I want to know what you guys are up to. What are you reading? What are you watching? What kind of TV shows are you watching? Are you excited for Stranger Things? Leave it in the comments below, message me, and finally follow me here on YouTube, or follow me on my Instagram at little_nerd_busters. Over there I post pictures of all my toys and some books, so, you know, like that, share that, show me your toys. I'd love to check those out. Anyways, until next time, guys.